Yo, crypto nation and mining family, what is going on? What up, what up, what up? Welcome to the State of Economics 101, where we kind of take a little deep dive on all things affecting all markets, not just specifically to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not a unique asset that is uncorrelated with anything else, and it gets worse with the altcoins. And the more you go down into the altcoin market, the more correlated it is with everything else. So we're going to be going over a few of the things that will affect markets overall. What's going on? Crypto Bedell coming in with the yo and the FA. And do you have Marlin put onto your 3D printer yet? I'm just saying. And if not, why are you waiting? Just put Marlin on there and fix your problems. Reality doesn't make the best software. It's like one of those softwares where it works. What up, Crypto Craig? We got Sadie all the time. What's going on? What's going on? Crypto Craig with the LFG F to the A. Yeah, don't forget, guys and gals, to be smashing that lizardy like button, subscribing, hitting the bell notification, all that good stuff, guys. So if you guys are looking to learn about some of the markets, let's dig in. Oh, hey, why is my input not working? That's weird. I have lost my input. Give me 1 second. I have to fix my input. For some reason, my input is not working. Property. Hey, there we go. I don't know why it was lagging out like that. Bam. Hey. I knew my camera wasn't on. I could see that I had it selected off, but the monitor... I unplugged everything off of my computer, guys, and pulled my computer because, I got a water block building here, and I moved some hoses around and made things better with my custom water loop, and I've been working out a couple of air bubbles. So I pulled my PC out earlier today and worked out a really big air bubble out of my my CPU block. I was like, why is my CPU running so warm? I look in there and it's like a half a bubble. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's a lot of air in there. So I had to flip it over, and EK should have made one of the hoses a little higher than the other so it would capture the air. But it is what it is. So, yep. Had to do that. So that's probably why I lost my monitor source on with OBS. Maybe one of the cables didn't get plugged back in right. Let's go in. Bam. That's working. Yo. So it's I haven't touched a printer yet. Was cleaning up the yard and getting ready for the sewer repair. Good luck on that, my man. And then after that, put Marlin onto your printer and learn how to do some research on it. Sometimes you have to go in there. Notepad++ to be able to manipulate the software that you're going to be utilizing, and your life will be easy. It's just a little bit of a rabbit hole. I went down the rabbit hole myself. I've got Marlin on my printer. Life's easy now. It really optimizes the machine the way it's supposed to be. It's a huge difference. Huge. All right, so let's get into this. It's like looking into a new glass bed, not sure which brand is best. I would get your printer to start printing properly on any bed first. I think that's step one. Is getting that BL touch sensor you have to work properly. That's step one. And I think after that, your life will be so much easier. I'm just saying. What up, the dude? Going good afternoon. Just realized that I was on the alt count. Yep. I sees that. It's like F that BL touch. I love my touch sensor. It makes the print so nuts. I mean, like when we were speaking, I was getting done with a what is that? I did I did 4 prints back to back. Each print was a day and a half. Back to back, all on one spool, start to finish. Bam. So, I don't know. You can get the CL Touch, which is the Creality version. Maybe the CL Touch works better. I have the CL Touch, which is Creality's own stuff. So, what up, rude? But let's dig into this. So the S&P for the day is down about 1%. Nasdaq 100 is down 1.75%. Bitcoin is at down just over 1.25% down. The dollar index has lost 0.03% of buying power. The Dow 30, which is Dow Jones Industrial Average, you're going to be looking at 0.46, so about 0.5% down, and then the Russell 2000 is down 1.43%. So and the Russell 2000 is where MicroStrategy sits, and ARK Investment with Cathie Woods. Those are two big funds that are holding large amounts of Bizity Bitcoin, guys. And they have not sold anything through this bear market. This stuff is just on their books, and they have their exposure. They have what they're looking for. And let's put it this way. Exactly, Gandhi, hodl. MicroStrategy during last year was gobbling up Bitcoin too. They did not stop purchasing Bitcoin through the bottom of the bear market. I guarantee you, with the FTX collapse, that MicroStrategy scooped up a bunch of Bitcoin. I will guarantee you that. Even though you'd have to go into their, because they have to. I haven't looked into it. This is just me thinking. If I was a business person and I saw a market crash like that, I would be doubling and tripling down on my position. This is a buying experience if you think that there's nothing fundamentally changed. So, I mean, with none of the fundamentals changing, it would be in their best interest. Now, I know Cathie Woods with ARK Investment she's more calculated with what she does. So she might have bought a small sum during the bigger portion of the crash. But I'm sure MicroStrategy. I would I'll look into it this weekend to verify this, and see if there's any, because they're a publicly traded company. They have to disclose any buying events like that. So they would have had to have disclosed it somewhere. So I would just have to double check into what they're saying. So don't take me as gospel on there. I'm thinking from a business standpoint, it would make sense for them to have at least put a little bit more of exposure in the books with the price action being down. Because what that ultimately does in the long term, and this is like the big brain thinking with business side of it, is if I can sit there and purchase another large sum, it'll take my overall average of my purchase price down. So right now, where MicroStrategy's average buy-in price is right around $32,000 per Bitcoin. So if he were to sit there and purchase right after FTX collapsed and was one of the proponents that was putting up the purchasing wall, that would have brought his average down to right around 30,000. So you see the game on this. If you could sit there and you buy on the lower end, it'll bring your overall average down. And with that downward average, that means there'll be a point where you can bring your average down low enough to where you're basically floating profits all the time. Even though there was Bitcoin that he had purchased that was in the $50,000 range, but because his overall average is down, he's now easier to be in the profit. Maybe on that, not that one purchase, but over the whole portfolio that he has. You're looking at good sitting positions. And coming through 2022, MicroStrategies is one of the biggest holders of Bitcoin, guys. He's got over 8,000 Bitcoin. So, I mean, you're talking, bon appetit. Like, talking about huge Bitcoin whales, I found out that the U.S. government has over 200,000 Bitcoin, whole Bitcoins. They auctioned that off, and that was a long time ago. Don't quote me, but if my memory serves me correct, I think it was... Mike Novogratz from Galaxy Digital. I think he's the one that purchased it through the auction event. It was from like they had a bunch of Bitcoin. I don't remember how much it was, but the government has auctioned it off each time. It was confiscated Bitcoin. I would say link me to it. If it's a recent audit, I would like to see how recent is recent. Because, like, I know that they're like that they auction off the Bitcoin. They don't hold on to Bitcoin in any way, shape, or form. So, it's like, and I know one of the people that bought some of the Bitcoin from right around that time of the Silk Road collapsing in on itself was Mike Novogratz, and he bought it pennies to the dollar, guys. I mean, he got a screaming deal. It was during a bear market, like a bad bear market too. So it was like perfect timing on his part. But yeah, so Bitcoin, it has been bobbling around. Let's dive on into this. See some more of an advanced chart here, guys. Let's see here. Switching on to this chart. Yeah, I like this chart a little better. I got more information on here. I like information. Oh, look at that. Did somebody call this a few weeks out? I'm just saying, guys. I am just saying. We are just kind of following this, and we'll just kind of bounce into there. We are setting up support line, guys. We are seeing a little bit of a tightening. I don't think we are at that crossing point. I think we are just sitting there at a tightening. So it kind of looks like I was thinking that that I was hoping that it would pop up right around here originally, and now it looks like this is like I was calling out I was pretty much calling out when the pullback would happen instead of when I thought it was going to pop. It's like, and I was like going, at this point here, I was looking at the market going, it's, tightening up. It could drop down a little bit, but I think we're going to hit the floor and bounce back up. Well, I didn't, I should have taken into account that we were already setting up the trend line for it. But seeing that we cooled off here, that's a good sign. Rolled over, cooled off again. And I would not mind seeing it bounce into this channel for a month. I know everybody wants to see, bull run. They want to see moonshot. Let's set up support lines so that if anything breaks down, we have a return of normality of coming back down to earth. Why? Because if we set up a trend, if we set up a support line here, the support line is basically now above the median average. What does that mean? It means that if you were to sit there and draw a linear growth rate of how it should kind of stay in price range, we're right now setting up the price range where we should be at right now. If you were to take it with like slow and steady growth, right? We'd be sitting at just under a $22,000 Bitcoin. Right now, we're setting up a support line above that. This is good. So the way that I'm looking at it is this is just establishing something that should have been there this whole time, which is a definite support at that $21,000 to $23,000 marker, right? So that's basically where my bet is we are going to be sitting here trending out into this little lineup here. It's hard to say how long. We are starting to tighten up on the MA moving ribbon, which is the you basically they have it set it's set up into so many days, weeks, months for the whole for the year. So this would be the I believe this is the 150-day moving average up on top. And it's starting to tighten in. Why? Because we're setting up a support line. You would expect to see the MA moving ribbon to kind of tighten up on the support. So if we can tighten up here, we can see the potential of a healthy movement going up into the next bull cycle. So hold on, guys. Don't sit there and think that it's going to be bull run from here. Since we're trading sideways, there is still the potential that we can break down a little bit and have basically a bear trap. So basically, what the bear trap is the market looks like it's kind of coming up, and then it does a little rollover, pullback, and it's kind of looks like a nasty little pullback. It triggers all the bears to come in and start shorting. And then the market swoops back up because it was a lagging indicator, and the market actually, by the time they put their short sells in, the market had already moved past, and they didn't even realize it. That's where they call it a bear trap. So they come swooping in, going, let's push the price down, because then they can buy cheaper Bitcoin. But, bear trap. Now you could have it the other way too, bull trap. Where the market comes up for a second peak. Usually in bubbles, you'll see it come up, peak, you'll see it drop back down, and you'll see it come back rallying back up, and then it falls out. And we followed that in the last bear market perfectly, guys. These are the slower you see that movement, the more mature the market's starting to get. A mature market is not as violent to get in and out of. But since we're still very early on, we still see a lot of the violent waves in the market. There's not enough players in the market bringing a lot of demand yet. Even with Bitcoin being around for 12 years, it doesn't matter. It's still a very young market. A lot, your traditional stock market, you're talking 12 plus years in on this, right? So with the traditional markets, you see that slower movement on the bigger entities. and that's telling you how mature they are. Now, you can go into the penny stocks in the stock market, and you'll see the same immaturity in the market, and a lot of violence in the waves, and a lot of pump and dumps right on the stock market. So you're seeing a lot of the same stuff you can transpose over into the crypto market. It helps guide you a little bit, but it is not a be all tell all thing. Your best traders are correct about 65% of the time if you're really lucky. There's no such thing as a trading guru. There's just people that are, their guesses are a little bit better than other people. The information that they're looking at, it has more calculated, trying to take a lot of the risk out. And that's where hodling comes in. You DCA into Bitcoin, and you put it into a wallet, forget about it, right? Easiest way to do it, right? And the same thing with stock market. If you're sitting there and got your 401k, that's in the same sense. You're sitting there and putting in a little bit into it, and they're sitting there playing it on the stock market. That's what your 401k is basically doing. But with the 401k, you're also dealing with world economic stuff to going along with it, plus government economics and local, international, and governmental. And this all kind of plays in. And one of the things that are basically have been playing in is last night, President Joe Biden gave his gave a little speech, guys. And it's like he's really kind of detached. He it was gaslighting in front of everybody, going inflation's down. We've made more jobs. It's like, bro, all the jobs are destroyed because the government shut everything down. And you're going to take credit for the jobs reporting that they are back open and operational. Those weren't jobs that were lost. Those were jobs that were coming back online, right? These were jobs where people were trying to call in new people in. They were trying to hire new people. And then they went, oh, look, and now we've expanded it. No, you didn't. These were the same jobs that came back after the pandemic, right? And the pandemic is more the government shutting down the economy, because that's more of a crisis than anything else was. But we're now looking at these same jobs that were already there coming back online, and then they were like, well, we can't find one full-timer. That's fine. We'll split this up and we'll just look for a couple of part-timers. Is anybody willing to work part-time for us? So now you get this artificial inflation in the jobs numbers from that, because these jobs are now looking for part-timers, because they're looking for anybody that's willing to go in to actually work. There are so many people that have just left the workforce. Now, some of them, like myself, became an entrepreneur. Well, I'm now into the beginning stages of being a job creator. So that gives me a different focal point for myself, right? I no longer count as a normal working class person. I'm now in the entrepreneur class that is a potential job creator. So soon they're going to be looking at what me and Mikkel are doing as potential of, increasing those job numbers. Now I'm hoping that, we can survive long enough to be able to basically, start doing some of the job creation ourselves. But there's a lot of roadblocks that, have been put before us. And it's like, just because you got a business doesn't mean you can get a loan. Sometimes those loans is what you need. But again, that also adds to an issue, a secondary issue. If you're a new creation of a business and you need to pull a business loan, you're basically creating money out of thin air. You're going to be the first person to spend that newly minted money. So what up, Patrick? What up, Crypto Hunter? What's going on? But here we have Biden doing his State of the Union address last night, and it was just like a whole lot of gaslighting from him sitting there saying that the economy's back on track, that inflation's down. I'm sorry, but gas looks like it's getting more expensive day by day, and it still costs me an arm and a leg to feed myself. You know what I'm saying? It's like it still costs big bucks to still put food in that refrigerator, and it's taking more and more of it to get the same amount of food. So I personally don't see this inflation coming down. I'm running on diesel fuel with my truck, and during this whole time, I have not seen my diesel fuel price come down. I've been above $4 for a hot minute. And that's some of the reasons why goods and services are going up in price, because it's costing the truck drivers more in fuel to be able to cart stuff across the United States. It's like, where the biofuel at? I don't mind biofuel. It clogs up your fuel filter a lot faster. That's one issue that I have with it. And it doesn't have as much spunk behind it. So you end up using a little more fuel. So it's like, yeah, I'm not big on the biofuel. Just give me some regular old diesel and I'll be happy. Where's this Stanley Meyer water fuel cell trucks at? If anything, there was a lot of fundamental flaws with it. The Stanley Meyer water fuel cell engine. I forget who bought the patent on it, but they tried to get it to work, and it took far too much energy input to get enough output for propulsion. Maybe if they ever make fusion, if fusion ever becomes a thing, maybe hydro engines will actually become a thing. But you're talking, everybody's going to be driving around with a fusion cell. Good God, if anybody gets into an accident, you'll be like, oh, lost half the neighborhood today due to a small fender bender. It's like biodiesel plugged up all the generators I've ever worked on, changed his expensive filters daily. Our bucket truck had to pump the fuel out of the side. Oh my God, yeah. I have major issues with running biodiesel. I mean, it's a cool thought. I will give it that. It was a cool thought. But yeah, I would never use it. No. Rude. It's like, you ever wonder what happens when a bunch of fusion cars go off? Man, look at the game Fallout. It does smell like French fries or chicken. Facts. But everything smells like chicken, though. Just saying. So, but getting back at it. Some of the takeaways that were from the State of the Union speech from Biden last night, some of it was his clear disconnect from what's most important to the common person versus what's most important to the corporate elites, and we can see which side of the aisle that he sits on for. It is not for the people. He had sat there and done a lot of dividing talk, and that it's instead of sitting there bringing people together, going, "Hey, you have these amazing skills. You have these amazing skills. You two need to start working with each other because you can do amazing things together." No, He likes to sit there and bring back in a lot of division within the entire country. But with that also means that you have a lot of people that are, how can I put it? Like they're moving out of areas. So you're seeing a lot, like California is seeing the biggest max exodus because of bad policies that are bad for business. And they're going to areas where it's good for business. This comes with a cost, right? Cost of moving a whole business, cost of rebuilding the brand in a new area. So yes, you're seeing a lot of economic movement, but it's backwards because you have companies moving from one area to another instead of expanding into a new area and being able to broaden their service area. You have them straight up giving up in service area in light of more favorable service. This is a clear disconnect that our government truly has. I mean, not even, even with how the medical system works, where you can go into another country and grab the same medication at a fraction of the price. There was a story that had gone around right after 9/11, where some of the people from 9/11, from helping, breathing in all the debris and everything, and all the dust and everything, some people developed some really funky lung issues. And this one lady needed a special inhaler. Here in the United States, it's like $100. Her family's from Cuba. She was able to fly to Cuba, visit her family out there, and pick the same inhaler up for $5. There is a clear disconnect on how drugs are distributed in other countries versus here. It's like we're the richest poor nation. We're the wealthiest third world country ever. I swears to gods. Like I see all Stanley. It's like, yeah, it's like we need to sit there and like change how the upper management's really working here, because yeah, this is no longer good for the people. And here we have, with the State of the Union address too, we have them sitting there and bringing in bringing in a Ukrainian ambassador, Oksana Marinovka, to stand up for, and he asks for her to stand up during the State of the Union, and sat there and was like, "We stand behind you, no matter, we basically stating that we are going to stand with them as long as it takes." The tired troops and old-fashioned ideas laced through the speech and highlighted the disconnect between Biden's world and the one the rest of the world lives in. We're going to be sitting there, and basically he green-lighted spending more billions. The omnibus bill that they've already passed, they've blown through the budget already. They just passed this in December. And they've already blown through 100%, almost 100% of the $1.8 billion. And they're wanting to vote for more money. Guys, we're looking at the self-destruction of America right before our eyes. This is another reason why all these government officials are going so hard against the Second Amendment here in the United States also. Just saying. Just saying. What up, Kyle? It's like doctors within borders should not be in the U.S. Yeah. It's like truth bombs. Yeah. Exactly. John Germain's like, I paid $1,000 a month. Yeah, sad to see it, Rude. Exactly, Rude. Exactly. We're watching the corporate elites hollow out America and sticking the U.S. citizens with the bill. And the only thing that we can do is default. And if we default, we're going to be a third world country overnight, guys. The cost of food and energy will go through the roof. And the only solution that they're going to have is either turn to communism and start fire up the bread lines. And if you guys want to wonder what the bread lines were all about, look at Russia. When they were the USSR, they had freaking bread lines in there, and you could be standing in the bread line for 4 days and still not get a loaf of bread. And when you finally do, it's moldy. Yeah, this is what happens when the government breaks down. I mean, at some point in time, there's got to be a civil war in the middle of this to get rid of the current government, to replace it with something that actually functions like how the Constitution was written to be. Just saying. Government's too big and the people can't afford it. And they keep on printing. And now we're sitting here trying to afford 2 governments. Not 1, but 2. U.S. citizens have got to support the U.S. government plus the Ukrainian government. I'm Ukrainian. I'm outraged by this. As a United States citizen, I am outraged that we are sitting here meddling in the affairs of another country for a proxy war we started. This isn't something that Ukraine started with Russia. This is nothing that Russia started with Ukraine. This was the United States starting this. And now we, the people, pay for this through our taxpayer money. Because and we get taxed in 2 ways. Front end tax, where they just outright tax you and steal your money. And then the silent tax of them consistently printing money year after year. And even with Kevin McCarthy in the House seat, it's not going to change. Just because the Republicans, the House Speaker, it's status quo. It's going to be status quo. Kevin McCarthy is the Republican side of the swamp. Nancy Pelosi was the Democratic side of the swamp. They both answer to corporations. They get donations in the millions, guys. They are bought and paid for by the highest bidder. There is going to be no difference on what the next spending bill is going to be tailored out to be. The Republicans are gonna cheer. Oh, look, we made sure that it was exactly what it needed to be, nothing more. We trimmed the fat off of it. It's like, but you still spent more money than you had. But I trimmed the fat off of it. And that's not how this is gonna work. So we're gonna watch them do a lot of the. We're gonna watch them go into voting for more money, and it's gonna hurt each and every one of us. It's going to delinquish our purchasing power of our dollars, which is going to make Bitcoin look more expensive day by day, guys. So hold on to your hats, guys. I think things are going to get a little bit worse. The Goblin Dude. I will actually disagree with you on that one. It has been going on far longer than that. Ukraine, like many moons ago, broke off from Russia twice. There's been a lot of history between Russia and Ukraine, and most Ukrainians do not like Russia. But at the same time, most people don't like NATO and what NATO represents. And Russia does not want NATO on the border. NATO was created as a defense against the USSR. There is no more USSR. There is no reason that NATO is trying to park itself on the border of Russia. That's what sparked this off, was that the US was trying to go into talks with Ukraine after they staged a coup and overthrew the actual president of Ukraine. and put in this illegitimate President Zelensky, there's a lot more history back end on what's going on in Ukraine. There's a lot of resources that we want out of Ukraine. It is in our best interest to have majority control of said resources, because a lot of these said resources are things that are needed for fertilizers. The number one export of Ukraine is fertilizer. That is why Russia has wanted Ukraine for the longest time, was that Russia went so industrial so early on. They used up all their usable farmland for industry. And they wanted to repatriate Ukraine back into Russia for the longest time, since Genghis Khan came through and conquered the Ukraine. That's where the split comes in. Ukrainians are descendants of Genghis Khan. Backstory. But seeing that we're putting in, all this money into Ukraine to be able to fund this war, and we're now starting to see the money flowing out of Ukraine. We're watching government officials sitting there buying stuff in other countries. Zelensky bought a multi-million-dollar house in Switzerland. Tell me that wasn't the U.S. taxpayer money. We're watching weapons that were sent to Ukraine end up in Africa. Tell me this stuff's not being sold on the black market. You know what I'm saying? So we're watching all this money go into Ukraine and just flow back out. This is a problem in the idea that we are not trying to fight for democracy. We're not trying to fight for Ukrainian freedom. No, the U.S. is involved because they want to execute Putin. Period. They want to execute him. And I don't know what's worse of a former KGB agent running a country and getting rid of a lot of the corruption out of the country so the U.S. could not manipulate the Russian government. Imagine that. That's one thing that they don't like. But so we're going to be pouring all this money into this, whether the people like it or not. It's like they talk about, talking about, the poor people or the black community, the Hispanic community, the Asian community. You're hitting the most poorest people in your community, right? Whoever that may be, whatever nationality they are. This war, as they sit there and pour out more money, we're going to watch those people end up on the street. And when people hit the street and they're on Skid Row, I'm sorry, but in order to lay your head down at night, you pretty much got to be all messed up and tweaked out in your head. There is no set of drugs that is going to sit there and make the pain and guilt of being on the street homeless is going to wash away. And we're going to be watching as they sit there and keep on spending all this money. We're already watching this in real time, guys. As they spend money, more people enter the street because there's less economic value going on locally. And this is just and this is going to be systemic and multi-generational, guys. This is nothing that's going to go away anytime soon. This is going to become some of the new normal. So some of the video games we've played over the years, I think they were prepping us for this. I swear to God. But yeah, I mean, it's like, I wouldn't say most, but yes, they are. Yeah. I mean, like, they're for every one family out there that hits the street because they got priced out of the market, there's 4 families that are broken because they got into drugs. Because you're in you go from a nice neighborhood to the cheaper neighborhood to a little cheaper and a little cheaper, and then for some reason you look around, you're like, oh my God, I'm in the ghetto. And now you're making friends with people in the ghetto, and now you're being exposed to things that you've never been exposed to. And I've watched a lot of my friends go down this road. So I'm speaking from experience on this one. Me, myself, did the same thing. I went into the ghetto. I did stupid shit. And I pulled my head out of my ass and made myself better. And here I am today. But a lot of people find it hard to work their way out of it once you've gone in. And that's the vicious cycle. And to me, the vicious cycle can be easily broken by, I know this is going to be like mind-blowing, but just sitting there and taking a portion of that money that they're sitting there feeding into this this infinite war machine and putting it into the communities, just a little sliver of it in each one of the communities, to promote economic growth, to promote small businesses to start cropping up, because 70% of the workforce out here is employed by small businesses, guys. The small business people are the ones that are supporting America, not these big mega giant corporations. No, 70% of the workforce works for small mom and pop shops. This is why I go out of my way to do business with them over the corporate giants. Yes, it might cost me a little bit more. Don't care. Those are the people that are employing the majority of the people in America, and we need to keep supporting them. And tell these corporate giants to F off, because what people don't realize, Walmart comes into an area, they will drive out all the businesses that are in the area, because they will sit there and sell something from that they'll have a department that's competing with every store in town, and they will just bottom out the prices on it until those businesses are out of business, because everybody's now coming to Walmart, right? And then once those businesses are gone, Walmart does what? They raise their prices up to where they should be after the businesses couldn't survive competing against them. And people are like, well, that's just business. I agree 100%. That is just business. But whenever you're sitting there and, you're not gaining any more new jobs out of the deal, right? So if Walmart would have put all of these other companies out of business because they're just a giant, and they went in and hired all those people to work there, so there was no job loss in the process, I'd be like, okay, but that's not what they do. So you're giving up the small mom and pop shops. Walmart raises their prices up, and then now you have, let's say a quarter of the town is out of work, and the prices get jacked up. There's issues with all of this stuff. It's like these are just long-term effects of how the corporate America has really kind of taken over and hollowed out things. And I think we are seeing in real time the piper needs to be paid, and we are going to pay the piper in real time. So interesting stuff. Interesting for sure. Then we have Genesis creditors to expect an 80% recovery under the new proposed restructuring plan. Now, Genesis is Genesis Global was kind of tied in with digital DCG for Digital Currency Group, and had also ties in with FTX. So they basically halted anything coming in or out. So basically they did a restructuring plan, and what I think is going on is that they're saying 80% of their funds. It's not so much that it's 80% of their funds. They're returning the principal So if there was any kind of gains that were given at any point in time, they're losing the gains, but they're recovering the exact dollar amount that they had lost. So that's actually not a bad idea. Bad thing for if you're in a company that is dying. That if they could return the principal, you're doing good. So Gemini is also going to be part of the agreement. They're going to be contributing 100 million for its Gemini Earn users who had their funds frozen with the bankruptcy firm. So we have Gemini coming in to help out a little bit, which is nice of them. They didn't have to. But yep, anybody that's involved with Genesis Global, count your blessings. This is all underneath the same Genesis umbrella. This is the whole Genesis company. This is just one little branch that's filing for bankruptcy. And I think some of that has to do with is that, one, the market came down. Two, they were Genesis Mining, another division of theirs, was the largest Ethereum miners in the world. So yeah, they basically All right, 2 articles you found about the Bitcoin holdings. I will look at that later, my dude. I will look at that later. So Genesis Global holding company, the holding entity for Genesis. So that is the parent company for the whole Genesis umbrella, is Genesis Global Holding Company. I don't know if they're injecting anything into the dying branch that they're basically going to liquidate and sunset. It looks like so. All right, and let's see here. I kind of went over with some of my side railing on. Oh, yeah. If you guys are dealing with any of these non-decentralized financial instruments here, like the swap stuff, you're playing with some of these swap services, be careful with your swap services. Not all of them are good. So Cow Swap Hacker milks 550 BNB using a solver exploit. A lot of times this is a disgruntled employee. What up, Druid guy? What the hell is on your cap? Oh, you're talking about this dude? It's a little harness. Yes. I take him on walks. What up, Automatic Beats? So Cow Swap Hacker milks 550 BNB using the solver exploit. So very easy to do this on some of them. Like they have built-in backdoors that weren't coded properly. You got to be careful of where these people are getting their code from. Some of them just do copy paste, and then you see an attack vector coming in from code that isn't even being currently used by anybody else because the other person already got hacked and he's not using it no more. So blockchain surveyor MEV refund flagged the event as and detected that the funds seem to be moving away from CowSwap. The maximal effect, the MEV searcher warned that the DEX and its users that the exploit in a tweet thread. So according to the smart contract auditing from BlockSec,
A wallet address was added as a solver of cow swap by multi-sig, and then the address invoked the transaction to approve the DAI to SwapGuard, which led to SwapGuard transferring DAI from the cow swap settlement contract to other addresses. Booyah. Bye-bye. Burn notice, guys. That is game over. The node is finally completed. Greetings and salutations to being a full node runner. Yo. So blockchain security firm PeckShield estimated around 551 BNB was lost, worth about 181.6 thousand at the time of writing. After stealing the assets, the hacker moved the funds to the infamous crypto mixer Tornado Cash. I love my mixers. Just saying. During the attack, some of the community members panicked and urged users to revoke approvals from the DEX. However, the centralized finance protocol said this isn't necessary. CowSwap responded back, "We are aware of the issue and has impacted the fees that Cow Protocol has collected over the past week. Mitigated the issue and are conducting an investigation. Traders are in no way affected." But the value has been extracted out of there, guys. And it's like, I need to get my server out and start working on getting it up and running for some Flux nodes. Yeah, Crypto Hunter, if you're going to do a Flux node, there is a company that's going to be making the new Flux nodes, the servers for it. You can make one. Get the specs from them. They've got like some crazy specs on it, guys, because it's proof of useful work for the new Flux consensus. So make sure that you have it set up for that. It's going to be proof of useful work. So you're going to need very specific hardware that are going to be able to run. So just saying, guys. So just kind of, I don't want you wasting your time if your equipment needs to be updated or is no longer viable, period. No matter what updates you do. Fixing tonight my burned out wall, socketed in the farm. Oh gosh, no. And always, guys, be careful out there with other things too, like this. Cardano DeFi TVL raises more than 100% in 1 month. This is not sustainable. This is not how economics work. If it has a meteoric rise, it will have a meteoric fall plus or minus 10 to 30%. So if it has up, it's going to come back down. This is not sustainable. I don't care who anybody is. You know, that stuff like this, I kind of chuckle when I see it because I see it so many times. Over and over again. So kind of be careful with that. Same thing with what is it? Their Degen protocol on Cardano, which is going to be an algorithmic stable token. It has already seen a huge spike of botnet making wallets on there. So expect to see wash trading happening if any event happens. It's going to be getting attacked as soon, very soon, I think. It's just going to be a matter of how much money do they want to let come into the market before they execute at this point. So it's like too late after day one. Yep. No, it's not too late after day one. It's as long as you can get out before, if you're in it before the price drops, is a perfect time to get out. If you need to use a stable token, use Tether. Don't use something that's algorithmically stable token, because they're pricing it against Cardano. If Cardano gets exploited and there's a flash loan system on it that somebody can exploit, they can tank the price of Cardano, which would take out Degen, which would set a run on Cardano. This is kind of what happened to Luna. I'm just saying. Let's see here. And give everybody a little chuckle before we get up out of here, guys. Yeah, Rude. That is effed up, my dude. 100% effed up. And a lot of people don't realize that that's what happened to Luna. Is that somebody arbitraged their stable token, which was an algorithmic stable token. Granted, it was a bit of an insider event too, from Daquan or Duquan or whatever the guy's name was. But yeah, you're as soon as you peg your stuff to another token and there's a big enough of a sell-off on there, you're basically talking about a bank run. This is why banks shut down. If there's a bank run, they will stop people from pulling money out. The system will seize up on itself. Well, if you can do it in one transaction, the system can't react fast enough. Game over. And that's what happened to Luna. Luna imploded from it. And it was just a cascading event. Once it triggered off a big enough of a sell, the rest of the cells came in right afterwards. And it was just instant. Like I was trying to mine on Kapow the other day and my cards would not underclock the power. No, Kapow wants the power and little overclocking. Yeah, the overclocking is like so minor on Kapow. But yeah, it wants all, and I mean all the power. Oh yeah, Sadie, you could certainly drop wattage and put yourself into a more of an efficiency mode. But but you are giving up hash rate. So it's like, yes, you clock in over here on the efficiency side, but for the reward side, you're on the efficiency side. So you have high reward or efficiency, and the needle in between is basically that needle of where you're trying to balance out. Well, it's worth it to this point. Oh, it's worth it to this point. And as the market drops, you start leaning more efficient. You don't care about the rewards. You just want to be efficient, and that is the most effective way to run it. And then whenever the market's in a bull run, you're like, here's the power. Or you can do what other mining facilities do that are in a cold. They turn up the power in the wintertime and offset some of the heat being produced for heating up the area where it's mining. So you save a little bit of money that way. Not a lot. Not a lot. Just gonna say. But lose 1 or 2 hash, but lose 30 watts per GPU. For sure, Rude. It's like I'm lazy mining a Raven. I'm mining ETC on 2 miners and getting paid out in Bitcoin. Man, I wouldn't be mining on ETC with GPUs. The ASICs are are outpacing you 3-1. That's just me. Sadie's like, went from 124 mega hash at 1,000 watt to 111 at 800. 10 1660 supers. Took all day to fine tune it. Nice. That's winning. That is for sure winning 100%. And if you're able to save that kind of wattage across multiple rigs, now you're starting to save money, right? So I mean, it equalizes itself out in the end, right? At least that's how you hope. So as your rewards come up, whether it's the amount of rewards you're grabbing or the price of the rewards that you're grabbing start ticking up, you're going to start pushing that, going to, hey, we're drag racing, balls to the wall, to we're back in a bull market, and and the needle goes back to more efficiency mode. It's an arm wrestle. It truly is. And the bigger your mining garden is, bigger your facility is, the more you're battling this. The bigger you are, the bigger that fight. So, oh yeah, I have gone through, and I am a GPU whisperer. You can ask Red Panda. Red Panda is the one that gave me the nickname GPU Jesus. Okay. Not saying that what I'm doing can't be done by any of you awesome people, but yeah, Red Panda is the one that gave me the nickname GPU Jesus. But before I head up out of here, I'm going to leave you guys with a smile and a giggle. Let's get into the last article of the day. Ethereum gas prices spike 29% in January as users' activities grow. I get to I get to bask in the glory of the miners told you so, that nothing was being fixed, except that they were sitting there and screwing over the people that were supporting the network. Crypto Craig, GPU Jesus. But, yep. So Ethereum gas prices has spiked 29%. I guess it's those evil miners. Oh, wait a minute. It's not us anymore. Must be all those centralized nodes now. All those greedy validators. It's like fucking real. We told Ethereum developers that they were not fixing anything in any way, shape, or form. Making it user friendly? No. You were making it early investor friendly, because the early investors were the top stakers. So now we get to sit there and sit back and see this centralized network at its finest, where they did not solve anything. Just like Cardano doesn't. They're a competitor. Cardano's just like Ethereum. They make a whole lot of noise, but solve nothing. And here they are, coming closer and closer to their Shanghai update. And we're about to see how badly they get screwed. So, Ethereum block statistics show that the average number of blocks mined each that are minted, I'll say, because they ain't mined no more. Those are staking nodes. Each day show very little to no change, while the total block size per month has increased 7%. Stepping into 2023, the market seemingly shrugged off a year-long bearish sentiment, and as investors took notice, the long-awaited price correction has significant reactions showcased through on-chain activities on the Ethereum blockchain. So people are basically looking at it and going, hey, looks like this is a buying opportunity. We can make money here, right? Buy. And increased by 29.27% in January. The report compares the gas prices from January to December, noting an increase in user activity as key indicators for rise in average gas price went from 19.2 gwei to 24.82 gwei month on month. God, and they were complaining about this 20 gwei. And they were complaining, of course, they were also complaining about 100 and something gwei, but that was people playing with the playing with the system, going, we will pay anything to be in that next block. And your gas price shoots up. It's like TPS to Visa, enough said. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're trying to be what Kyle Rosa is saying is TPS to Visa, enough said. Transactions per second. They're trying to be like, oh, we can do what Visa does, My ass. With this being said, no. With 24.82 gwei would mean that if I were to send $10, it would almost cost me $3 to send it right now. That's not, and it's kind of funny that Vitalik Buterin, at one point looking back at Bitcoin going 25 cents per transaction fee is outrageous. Hold my beer. And he sat there and showed that, oh, we can milk you for, oh, you want to send $100? Well, the transaction fee is $100. What? 100% transaction fee? Wow. Yeah. Centralized application networks. It's truly. Yep. We have very few people at the very top controlling it all. But this time they made a worse system. It's like, this is why we don't let special needs people like Vitalik Buterin play with millions and millions of dollars of other people's money. He created a monster and somebody backed him up. And now they're sitting there playing with a lot of people's money with a very broken protocol. People keep on using Ethereum, you're going to get burned, guys. It's the bottom line. Bottom line to that, guys. So does anybody have any other comments or questions before I head up out of here? Kind of wanted to give everybody that all of us miners a good little chuckle, knowing that Ethereum's gas prices are back on the rise and they can't blame us dirty miners no more. How is the weather over here today? The snow is melting. Let's see what the temperature is. It is 39, 40 degrees out. Jordan, you get a kick out of that one. Dirty miners. We're just a bunch of dirty miners. Thank you, Sadie. Thank you, everybody. Put those FAs in the Chizity chat, guys, because you guys all rock 100%. Thank you, everybody, for being here. You guys are the reason why I do this each and every day. Yo. Like, I was outside for a few hours with just a hoodie on. That is truth on that one. It's like, FA, everybody, because you guys are rated F for freaking awesome. Yo, yeah. It's like, My rigs identify as clean FA. Yeah, buddy. So do mine. Mine are pretty clean too. I've cleaned them up not that long ago. So thank you very much for everybody that is here. Definitely don't forget to smash that lizard like button if you haven't done so already. I'm sure you already have because you guys are just cool like that. I already know it. I already know. If you guys are wanting to have your rigs hosted at the family mine here, as we are setting up for more power, we'll have a 0.5 megawatt of power coming up soon, guys. So if you want to be onboarded with us, Patreon links down below. Get into the pseudo hasher tier. That'll get you your VIP access to the facility with a special Patreon only exclusive goodie in there. That once the facility goes public, where we open up the doors to everybody, the only people that will get that benefit out of the Patreon are going to be the early adopters. Yo, I'm just saying. Just saying. And on top of that, if you guys are mining with XMR on Windows or on Linux, I have the way to be able to get the 0 dev fee in the Patreon also, guys. So if you are looking to save a 1% mining fee because you've only got 1 or 2 CPUs running and you're like, I'm not giving up all that for such little hardware that I'm running. I got the links down below. It's something that the devs for XMR rig or XM rig, I'm sorry, XM rig, they have it in there that they know that you're going to do it. And they show you how in GitHub. And it's not like they really hid it. So if you're willing to learn through GitHub, you can learn it yourself, or you can join the Patreon, link down below. I know, shameless plug. Shameless plug. It's like my rigs identify as Dusty AF, but they're still FA. Yeah, buddy. That is awesome. That is awesome. So thank you very much for everybody being here. All that good stuff. I mean, all that good stuff. Y'all rock. And with that being said, peace out. Stay savage. And may your watts be low and your hash be high. I'll see you on the next one. Y'all.